We know Natural Resources Canada didn't do any economic assessment about the impact of Bill C-69 on Alberta's oil and gas sector. So what about Environment and Climate Change Canada? It's another exclusive Access to Information investigation today. Bill C-69 passed June 21st, 2019. It's a bill that terminates the current pipeline approval process in Canada with its expert panel called the National Energy Board, and then replaces it with something called the Canadian Energy Regulator. C-69 takes away science and safety and replaces it with social justice and political meddling. The new law, a law about pipelines and energy projects, has feminism and gender theory written right into it as a factor to be considered during the pipeline approval process. I know it sounds so crazy and that it's hard to believe, but just take a look at this. Under factors to be considered, the intersection of sex and gender with other identity factors. The new bill also gives the Environment Minister, in this case, the incredibly flighty and hypersensitive McKenna, final say over an energy project. Just look at this. The new Environmental Assessment Act, as it's called, prohibits proponents subject to certain conditions from carrying out a designated project if the designated project is likely to cause certain environmental, health, social, or economic effects unless the Minister of the Environment or Governor in Council determines that those effects are in the public interest, taking into account the impacts on the rights of the Indigenous peoples of Canada, all effects that may be caused by the carrying out of the project. Yes, friends, the future of the oil patch in Alberta is now in Climate Barbie's capable hands. The final version of Bill C-69 is 398 pages long. That's nearly 400 extra pages of environmental and social justice regulations tacked on to an already prohibitively long energy infrastructure approval process. Now, about 2 weeks ago, I brought you the story of how Natural Resources Canada didn't do a single extra page of study of the regulations in C-69 with regard to their impact on Alberta's oil and gas sector. The bureaucrats didn't even send one curious email about any of it. I wanted to say I was shocked, but really it just confirms my biases about just how anti-Alberta and how anti-oil sector this bill and the Trudeau Liberals who wrote it really are. Now, I also wanted to know if Environment and Climate Change Canada had done even one line of extra study or asked one question about how C-69 would affect Alberta, especially now that McKenna, God help us all, is the overseer of a pipeline approvals process. Did she or anyone in her ministry bother to try to find out how C-69 would hurt Alberta? So we sent an access to information request into Environment and Climate Change Canada with exactly the same question that we asked to Natural Resources Canada. We asked them to provide copies of any economic analysis of the impact of Bill C-69 on Alberta's oil and gas sector since November 4th, 2015. I think you folks at home know exactly where this little video is going. The reply. After a thorough search, no records were found concerning this request. However, we recommend that you submit a request to both the Canadian Environmental Assessment Agency as well as Natural Resources Canada. Thanks, bureaucrats. We did that. We're pretty good at this. As you know at home, we already have one of those back saying no assessment was ever done. Now, recent polls show that anywhere from 25 to 50% of Albertans express some form of separatist sentiment, whether it's to entirely leave the country altogether or just to get a better shake within the equalization framework of Canada. That's higher than the separatist sentiment in Quebec. Now, is it really any wonder why Albertans are becoming so disaffected with Canada and being a part of Canada, especially when the government can pass omnibus legislation directed at Alberta's key industry without ever stopping to think for a moment what it would do to Alberta? For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. What you just saw there is the daily video that I do here at The Rebel. I'm an accountability journalist. I hold the government to account on behalf of the people. And that's why holdovers from Rachel Notley's government are coming after me for writing a book. To see the full story and to help me in my legal fight against the government, go to SaveSheila.com.